Hello everyone and welcome to Fableheim. And another patch notes video. It feels like we were just here. But 2 days ago when this video goes up, they released the open beta for the next free patch, which is coming at the end of summer supposedly. It's called the Watcher Update. And I thought I'd go over the patch notes because I wanted to ask you if we should do the next series, Erratus' Return, in the open beta. Now of course the benefits would be that there are a lot of changes that we can experiment with, and just see how things are going, and provide any feedback if we want to. The downside, of course, would be that this is a beta, and so there is quite the high chance of bugs and instability. But feel free to let me know what you think. There'll probably be a poll about it as well, because I'm planning on going straight into the Errata series once Smaug concludes, which is probably 3-ish more episodes, until the king under the mountain claims his victory. But enough of that, let's hop right into it. So, the following list of all changes made in this update so far, which means they do plan to continue updating it. I would imagine most of what they have is just the foundation, and they'll just tweak things according to feedback or how they're feeling, or, whatever. So research scaling. The way knowledge costs are determined for skills in the tomes has changed. Instead of the tier of the skill determining the cost, the knowledge cost is now based on the amount of tomes you have collected so far. Every new tome you unlock will have increased knowledge costs of skills compared to the tome before, regardless of what tier the tome or the skill is. The general knowledge cost of tome skills is increased, especially near the mid and late game tomes. The base knowledge cost of skills for tomes are as follows. For your first tome, the general research and cultural research, which you begin with at the game, is 250. The second tome, 400, then 600, then 800, then 1100, then 1500, then 1900, then 2400, then 3000, then 3600, then 4300. And for the 12th tome, it is 5,000, and every tome thereafter has an additional 1,000 knowledge cost per skill. Individual skills in a tome now have a skill level of Adept, Intermediate, and Expert. This adds a modifier on the knowledge cost of different skills inside of a tome can still differ in cost, as they did previously. Now for reference, Smaug has like 2 vassals, I think, and is on turn 104 or 5, and has just over 1,000 research. So, the only good news here is that this makes the Scholars Guild infinitely more valuable, whereas before it was kind of like, eventually just change it to economy. But I don't know how I feel about this. This has to be something we play with before I come to a steady conclusion, I think. But all in all, they want to make it harder to research, partly because they don't like people researching a whole bunch of tier 1 stuff right out the gate to get, their affinities all spread out and whatnot ever. I never did that, but people did that, and they don't like that. So this does make me beg the question, what is the difference now between tiers? Like, a tier 1 and a tier 5 tome would both cost the same, which kind of feels bad. If I had a knee-jerk suggestion to this, it would be to reduce the cost of lower tier tomes based on your highest tier. So if you had, a tier 5 tome researched, other tier 1s would cost like minus 40% whatever the price was. That would be my knee-jerk suggestion. We'll see how it feels. Magic Victory Rework. The new Magic Victory Rework focuses on the binding of golden ancient wonders to eventually cast the Age of Affinity spells. By using Ancient Wonders, the Victory condition becomes more active and makes it different from the expansion Victory. Right now, they are basically the same, just different prerequisites to get them started. Upon selecting your first Tier 3 tome, a new global research skill appears called Bind the Golden Ancient Wonder. It is a sustained strategic spell that must target an annexed Golden Ancient Wonder within your empire. While bound, it provides research bonus, but more important of all, a number of them are needed to cast the Age of Affinity spell. The Age of Affinity spell appears when you first unlock your Tier 5 tome, in the same place as the Binding spell, so this global research thing. You can channel it while having enough bindings, but if you lose enough bindings during channeling, the spell will be cancelled. You lose a binding when your wonder or the city it is attached to gets occupied or changes ownership. Global spells are a separate research pick, not part of the 3 randomly drawn ones that can be started or paused at any time once it becomes available. So it's like a 4th. That'll be like another bubble. I mean, that's good. The amount of golden ancient wonders required scales based on the size of the map. Oh, so this will scale like the expansion victory does. Like, I think Smog needs 160 provinces or something ridiculous. I doubt we'll be able to get that in time. Okay. Well, I have two immediate thoughts for this. One, I like this much better. Much, much better than the current Magic Victory. The only thought I have is, do we still get to keep the province affinity things? Because it was kind of cool that, you know, the heart and the root and the seed all did different things that buffed your magics. And will the AI still get mad at you for having bound golden ancient wonders instead of having province improvements? Because they get big mad at you for having province improvements. And it gets, you know, more and more upset depending on what tier it is. Those are my questions. Again, we could find out by playing the beta, but you have to let me know if you want to see that. Summon and casting changes. We've added a system to limit how many spells can be actually launched each turn, as well as tighten the rules about where units can be summoned. Summoning spells can now only be targeted on cells next to your city and your ruler. Previously, they could be targeted on any visible hex. Yes. This is how the summoning works in Conquest of AO, actually. We've added a limit of casting one spell per turn on the world map. Ooh, this can be extended to 2 by building the channeling chamber in your wizard's tower. Okay. This hurts my soul a little bit, but it does make the channeling chamber more important. Which is good, because right now it's kind of mediocre. You get +10/+10 casting points. Great. But by adding the limit, you are kind of reducing the effectiveness of the Wizard King's bonus. The ability to gain, you know, additional casting points per turn, or per level. But it's fine, I guess. I mean, Smaug can't even cast more than one spell per turn anyway, so maybe this is fine. Maybe I'm just being biased towards my dear Wizard Kings. I love having like 220 casting points. So good. We're tackling several elements of the map generation that we have seen the community provide feedback on. The focus for these improvements will be on the underground experience, but we have touched up the overall map generation as well. They have reworked map generation. Okay. Renamed player distance to relative map size. This was confusing, although I did get used to it. Added a new very large setting, which has increased distance between players and a larger total map size. I wonder if this is just the massive size from their official mod, or if it's like in between far distance and massive. Change the continents generation to allow for more varied maps and small islands to form in the water. Yes! Thank you. Continents was the best map generation in Age of Wonders 3. And probably Planetfall. But in this one, it kind of blows. I really want to try this now. I love continents, but I hated the one that spawned for the Erratus playthrough. The first one. Cities can now annex provinces on the opposite layer through underground passages. This is possible when provinces on both sides of the underground passage are annexed. Oh, interesting. So now those little areas of just like 2 or 3 provinces underground that has, you know, like a random wonder there, you could add that to a city very feasibly. Okay. Excavation no longer spawns a roaming stack of monsters that follow you. No diggy bone dragon? You can now uncover infestations and guarded nodes instead. Oh, that's what the diggy bone dragon is. Okay. Improve player placement in the underground to better take into account the positions on the surface. I think this is supposed to prevent people from spawning under other players. Someone left a comment saying that they spawned underneath some toads and just, you know, surprise! Now, the AI rebalancing, this is what this patch is primarily focused around. Like, as you can see, there are some balance changes. There are even more later. But the focus is on tweaking the AI. Because it needs it. Removed the unit upkeep and unit cost discount from normal difficulty. Okay, removed unit cost discount from hard and very hard. Reduced unit upkeep discount from 33 to 15% on hard difficulty. Reduced unit upkeep discount from 50% to 30% on very hard difficulty. Removed stat bonus for units on very hard difficulty. So we're no longer going to see a 21 defense blint, because that was annoying. It is weird to me that they made easier, but maybe the rest of this will make up for it. Changed unit production logic. The AI will no longer always produce units, but tries to keep up with the strongest human player. They try to have at least X% more army power than the human player, which is determined by the difficulty. Easy is 5%, normal 20, 30 hard is 30, and very hard is 40%. So they'll always try to have at least 40% more power. Isn't it possible to manipulate this? This feels manipulatable. Because in the current patch, they just keep making stuff. Like, you've seen 9 stacks of the AI just roaming around, doing stuff between their territory. We'll have to see. Changed the defense logic. Cities with walls no longer have always defend flag. This opens up additional units for the AI to use. Yes, this is an Age of Wonders 3. You don't need to keep units on your own cities, AI. When under threat, the AI will defend accordingly towards the threats. Great. Thrown cities under siege will become a forced defense. Oh look, no more Sauron leaving 4 units to save his capital. Changed how the AI takes siege durations into account when attacking and defending. Changed disbanding units logic. Wait, the AI disbanded? They will no longer disband units on cities and victory condition structures that are under threat. I feel like they shouldn't have done this to begin with. Okay. Never disband units on cities that are under siege. Improvements to AI summon logic. Removed rule that the AI can only summon units when there is a combat nearby. Now the AI will summon units as soon as they are primed. Wait, were they priming summons and then just sitting on them? Huh. The AI no longer needs to have a standing threat near their leader or cities to start summoning units. Increase the research priority of units and summons. Okay. Increase the priorities of each summoned spell by the tier of units they would summon. Increase the mission distance range to generate more things for the AI to do at a longer range. Do I no longer have to clear the entire bloody map? That would be nice. Economic focus changes. The AI should no longer replace gold, mana, and resource improvements, providing a stronger economy. Were they replacing that with, like, food? What was the AI doing? Changed rule regarding clearing ancient wonders. The AI will now clear them when they are in annex range to cities or outposts. Good. Good. It was very rare that they cleared stuff. Changed empire development rule. Rule set now includes taking into account free cities that could be integrated instead of only new cities. Tactical combat AI will now choose more varied spells. Long gone are the days of just spamming blind. They're gone. They're over. We are free. Or the one-shot spell. He does either. There are some environment or art changes. Added drips sound effects, or PFX. That's not sound effects. Particle effects to the underground stalagmites on the world map. Added point lights to the underground lava, and added point lights to the underground water in the world map. Texture pass on underground mushroom forest. Texture pass on the underground diggable walls. Diggy diggy. Fixed vertex snap issue with wizard tower city structure. Those are words. New Siegecraft icon, so you aren't confused on what is the Siegecraft and what is not, and the new Bind Ancient Wonder particle effects. Yes. At least it has a particle effect. Combat. Modified the XP gain capsulate dragons and rulers. Soloing battles earn less XP. A solo unit now only earns 25% of the battle's total XP. Previously, it was 50%. I feel like this wasn't needed, but I'm sure someone out there was abusing this, so okay. Added a small wait time in between turns to make transitions less jarring in combat. Okay. Buff and debuff modifiers. Slowed. In addition to slowing movement, also disables retaliation. Ooh. That's good. Or bad. Fortune and misfortune. Reduce the stacking from 5 to 3. Aw, were you not happy about me having guaranteed crits all the time? Evasion effects now correctly work on physical ranged and magical attacks. Only work. Okay. Good. There are a few culture changes here for feudal. The defender's heavy shield now gives +1 resistance. These are small changes, it looks like. The bannermen reduced defense by 1, reduced damage of bannersmen by 2. They were already pretty awful DPS. Okay. Knight now has Giant Slayer. Nice. Good. Now they have a tool against... Yeah, they needed this because feudal doesn't have a, like, tier 2 spearman. Their spearman evolves into the shield boy. So they really needed a natural Giant Slayer. And they got one. Good job. For the High Culture, Seeker Missiles has been renamed to Seeking Arrows, and no longer increases accuracy, so it still gives +1 range? I believe it was +1 range, +10 accuracy. I think. Awakened now grants +3 spirit damage to +4. They're nerfing Awakened. Fair, I guess. The Dawn Defender gained 5 health. The Daylight Spear gained 1 resistance. Awakener, the dormant trait Seeker Missiles has been replaced with the dormant trait Blinding Radiance. Huh? Battle Mages now get Dormant Radiant Light instead of Dormant Seeking Missiles from the High Enchantment. Oh! They're reserving Seeking Arrows for just the Archer. That's why they changed the name. Okay. The Blinding Radiance, I believe, is what the support get. And it's like a 60% chance to blind, I think. Which is now better. So, actually, is it? Was that slow? That was slow. Never mind. Take that back. Blind's still pretty good. Hero skill Coordinated Strike is now an expert skill from Adept, and Marked now has a 60% chance to apply, rather than being guaranteed. Okay. For the Industrious Culture, the Steel Shaper Grant Defense becomes a free action cooldown to 2. Ooh. Okay, it's nice that it's a free action, but now they can't do that thing where they grant defense one turn and then heal the next. And if you have 2 of them, they could, do one or the other. They can keep shifting back and forth. So you can't do that anymore. Ah, well. The Bastion now has Defensive Master, so it always enters defense mode at the end of its turn. Even tankier. Just what the Bastion needed. Inspired Defense is now a free action on a 2-turn cooldown. That's okay. Less problematic than the Steel Shaper change. For the Mystic Culture, the Arcanist reduced resistance to 1. Really? That's a tier 1 unit, right? That's okay. And the Soother now has Starblades. That's just support unit. Why did they not have Starblades? It's their, culture mechanic. Good changes, I guess. For Diplomacy. Spoiler alert, right now it's a bit of a clusterfuck. The trade value for equipment is back to the original item value, and extra limits have been added to make sure the AI will not ask for or offer resources in return that deviate too far from the original value. Are you saying I won't be able to buy tier 4 items for 40 gold? Because that's disappointing. I built my entire current playthrough off of that. The cost for starting a declaration of friendship or of rivalry are now fixed at 100 gold instead of scaling over time. Thank you. Thank you. Now I don't have to play with the tongue, the silver tongue, in order to declare everybody. I mean, Smaug declared everybody, but it felt bad. The costs for boosting the legions of a free city during negotiations are now shown on the button directly. Okay, good UI change. Declaration of Rivalry now has a new effect, where it generates rival justification over time. This allows the player to ignore part of the opposing ruler's grievance points when they declare war on that ruler. Oh, that's a great change. So, the AI kind of had this rule where they wouldn't declare on you if it wasn't at least a moderate justification. So, you could just keep your grievances kind of equal, even if they had say 70 grievances. If you had 69 against them, nice. Not only is it nice, but they would never declare on you unless you did a victory condition. It was pretty cheesy. But now it also gives you a chance to not have to fight their grievances. It's a good change. Made some text adjustments to better explain how the impact of justification works on Imperium when involved in multiple wars. Good. Because I've declared a few major wars since declaring a moderate war, but since my moderate justification was first, I'm not getting the improved Imperium. Speaking of the improved Imperium, the moderate justified war Imperium has been changed from plus 10% Imperium production to plus 10 Imperium flat. That is a good change most of the time. 90% of the time. Whereas this one, though, the extremely justified war Imperium gained from 20% to 20 Imperium flat, that is a very good change. Very good. Maybe. I suppose it depends on how much mythic units you're running. Right? Because if you are running a lot of units that have Imperium upkeep themselves, this change is a phenomenal change. But if you just have an unholy amount of Imperium income like the Stranger did, then this is less. But, I mean, it's still great. I think overall this is a good change. Remove the Imperium gain when releasing a city as a vassal. added an Imperium cost for releasing cities as your own vassal. This cost increases as you release more cities. First city is free, the second city is 75, third city is 150, the fourth city is 225, and the fifth city and up is 300. Sustained city bells that grant economic bonuses no longer work on vassals. I believe you gained 100 Imperium whenever you release a city. Okay. Honestly, I think they should... I'm okay with them removing the Imperium gain, but I do think they should not have added an Imperium cost. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. But maybe it does. I don't know. I don't tend to release people that are mine for all eternity. This was funny. I'm going to miss this. Ah, well. I wonder... There should still be spells from the high culture, or the... Order Tome, right? That you can add, you can put on people. We'll see. 4 Empire changes. Advanced Scrying, Force March, and Siege Project slot are unlocked earlier. Good. Advanced Scrying now also increases vision range by 2. Okay. Skilled Raiders now gives 20% of the description implies it to 25%. Okay, just a slight bug fix. Philosopher Soldiers now explains the amount gained for each rank and its description. Okay. Just gain research when someone levels up or gains a rank. Might be. New Empire skill added, the Advanced Logistics. It has the following effects. Move point cost of roads outside of enemy domain is reduced to 3 instead of 5. I love roads and they just got a lot better. Units gain Fast Embark, and when embarked, they have very fast movement speed. Advanced Sailing is in! Yes! My AOW3 brethren, rejoice! It's here. Now I don't have to research it. Factions. Shira Snowblood the White Wolf trait properly. Okay. Elaborated what the form adaptations do mechanically. The different walk properties also state what the movement costs are before and after the property. Fix various minor issues with traits not displaying correct values in text. Alright, great. The body trait. Quick reflexes reduce evasion from 30% to 25%. No big deal. Defensive Tactics now gives 10% evasion on top of +1 defense and +1 resistance. Ooh. That is pretty spicy. It's not much, but it's something. For the Mind trait, the Water adaptation has been renamed to Swamp adaptation. Okay, that makes sense, because despite what the name suggests, its benefits were like on swampy areas. Swamp adaptation now also gives Riverwalk. Underground adaptation now grants +1 annex range on cities in the underground of this race. Good. Good change. Or addition. The Society traits. Chosen Destroyer now has access to city structures that can increase the hero cap. One can be built every city tier of the Throne City. This is because they're changing hero upkeep. I'm sure they'll list it. Oh, yeah, it's right there. So both this and Mega Cities. Like if you play on Mega Cities, you can do this. And if you are Chosen Destroyer, you can do this. Good change. Origins. Wizard King. Overchannel starts on a 1-turn cooldown. Okay. And now only gains 5 casting points every other level. No, they nerfed my boy. So, you used to have plus 100 casting points, both world and combat at level 20, at level cap. Now you can only have a max of 50. Which is still a lot, don't get me wrong. But still. I guess now the contrast between playing Wizard King and the other two isn't going to be as severe. Or Wizard King. I feel for you. I think they were like the best though, so, you know. Heroes. The upkeep cost for each hero over the hero cap has been changed from a flat 30 gold to 15% of the player's gross gold income. Oh. And goodbye. The hero strats, they're gone. They're gone. Bye. Yep. Bye. Implemented a limbo system for hero items. When you unequip them, it takes X turns to, I believe it's 1 turn. I don't know why I'm saying X. Become available for other heroes to equip. Cannot be traded with other players. Cannot be sold. Does not count towards arsenal effects like the horde mechanics. Hero background traits. Oh, okay. It's these 3. So they added this because people were unequipping things. The example they gave in their little brief was people were like unequipping a flying mount from one hero once they had moved their turn, and then giving it to another hero for their turn to move fast. And they just keep doing that, which sounds like a lot of annoying micro to me, but I mean, you know, if it works, it works. So there's like I said, I think in the brief they said there's a 1-turn cooldown between swapping stuff, which makes sense. That's how it is in the other ones, I think. Hero background traits. Affinity Adept hero background trait now grants 1 Empire affinity instead of 3. Oh. Distracting now has a 60% chance to inflict distracted rather than 90%. These are pretty hefty nerfs. So this is for things like Order Adept, Nature Adept, whatever. The heroes, like when you get them and they just provide that affinity effect. Or maybe they'd be governors. That is a huge nerf. I mean, I didn't rely on them, but they were good ways to skip through the, you know, push your way through the affinity trees, even after the nerf to affinities. Yikes. Okay, that's fine. They really don't want you to blow through the tree. Hero skills. Precision training no longer gives crit chance. Aww. Lightning Evoker, increased damage from 10 to 14. Endurance training, reduce HP from 15 to 10. Aww. Weaver, no longer works on summon abilities and overchannel from the Wizard King. Wasn't this like half the reason people got Weaver? That's a thing that will reset your use once per combat abilities. Channel Power is now a free action that gives 50% damage boost to magic attacks for the current turn only. That is a better change, I like this. Summon Elemental now works in water maps. Cool. Comet Breath is now a full action, had its range increased from 5 to 4. That's a reduction. Okay. I mean, this makes sense. Comet Breath was really strong. It's the one I haven't used Comet Breath, but it's a ranged breath. It has a 1 hex radius, or maybe it's a 2 hex radius when it's upgraded. So yeah, it's good. Honestly, it's probably still good. Rebalance Dragon Auras. Order Aura, Materium Aura, and Astral Aura no longer gives bonuses to the Dragon Lord itself. So they nerfed him. The Chaos Aura has been redesigned. Now gives burning to adjacent enemies. Now has a 90% chance to proc a random negative status effect on random enemies. Now gives a random buff to adjacent allies. I believe I have the Chaos Aura, don't I? On Smaug. And I think it's just this one. I mean, this is better. I like this one way better. And the Shadow Aura has been redesigned. It now gives slowed and weakened to adjacent enemies. Now has a 60% chance to freeze adjacent enemies. Oh, wow, that is good. Nature Aura now no longer gives regeneration to the Dragon Lord itself. Aw. Now gives decaying to adjacent enemies. Interesting. I don't know what any of these do. The ones that no longer apply bonuses to themselves, but feels bad. I wish Smaug could play with this Chaos Aura, though. His current Chaos Aura feels like it's worthless. Like, it's there. Occasionally it does something. Interface. Added notes to status effects to explain which status effects counter other status effects. That's good, because I kind of didn't know that was a thing. Added a notification when finishing Excavation at Province. Okay. When a unit gains a benefit from Pack Hunter, Animal Kinship, or Defensive Tactics, or Overwhelming Tactics, this is now displayed. Good. Removed Inspect option in reward screen for units that did never make sense. Like, if you got a unit from a combat, you could hit Hero Preview or Hero Inspect, and it's like, why? Remove the casting cost in Strategic Transformation screen. Lock the camera zoom layer when annexing provinces. Enabled the Launch Now button for tactical spells that have no specific target. Good. Move the center view unselected object to the correct key binding category. Minor changes. Custom realms with DLC traits will now gray out if the DLC is not owned or not enabled. Allied victory checkbox now grays out when teams are enabled. Now remembers the position of the scroll bar after inspecting a unit in the unit production list. Nice. The about pages are now the same size. The buttons to click next align with each other. Good. For multiplayer, they fixed multiple out-of-sync issues. This will be a struggle for them for a long time, I guess. That's my suspicion. Stability fixes mostly related to tactical combat. For the Pantheon, added a blocked underground miscellaneous realm trait. So there's no underground? I thought that was already a thing. Maybe this adds more things you need to excavate. I don't know. Make a cities trait. Now gives all players access to city structures that can increase hero cap. Yep. Does not stack with chosen destroyers. Aw. The Ashen War Realm trait now no longer gives its quest and event in team games. Fair enough. Onboarding. Updated Magical Victory tutorial. Combat tutorials are now properly hyperlinked. Great. Tomes always give +5 casting points regardless of their tier. Previously, Tier 3 and Tier 4 tomes gave +10, and Tier 5 tomes gave +15. We're going to have even less casting points? It already is a... Casting by transformations already takes way too long on Smaug. I feel like I'm never going to play a not Wizard King again. Scrying. Oh, here are tome changes. Great. I can't wait. Scrying. Summon Watcher increased mana cost from 100 to 150. Amplification. Amplification pylon now grants 50% damage increase to tactical summons. Oh. Has static charge, dealing 6 lightning damage to melee attackers with a 30% chance to stun them. Amplifying pylon no longer has blight immunity. Well, I think what I'm going to do, if I ever use the amp pylon, I'm just going to throw it at them and dare them to hit it. I think that's what I'm going to do. Conjure Astral Creepers now works in water maps. Great. For the Chaos Tomes, Horde, Spawnkin now gives 10% evasion to heroes instead of extra damage. Non-heroes still get the 20% damage. Okay. Can we actually do a full evasion build on heroes? Defensive tactics, or evasive, whichever one you prefer. 10% from this. 10% from defense 3, or is it 5? That's still not great. Blaze of the Horde now does 20 damage to a single target with an extra 4 damage for each adjacent friendly unit. Adjacents? Fury of the Horde now costs 20 mana and 20 casting points. Battle Seeker Training now gives 1 defense, 1 resistance, 1 status resist, and 5 HP to tier 1 units, instead of 20% damage. Ugh. They basically just went through and redid the Horde Tome because too many people picked it. It was too good. For Materium Tome, Artificer. The Artisan Blades no longer applies to ranged units, so they kept the crit chance but took it away from ranged. Okay. The Tome of Winds, the Zephyr Archer Zephyr Shot damage has been reduced by 4 damage, and they no longer have Slippery. Okay. I mean, the Glade Runners don't have Slippery, right? So it's like, whatever. The Golden Realm added +10 gold income on the Reagent Refinery. Baseline? This is the one that does stuff based on how many magic materials you have in your domain. The Tomes of Nature. Beast. Summon Wild Animal now has a chance to spawn a Wyvern Hatchling or a Slither Hatchling when used over temperate terrain if you have the Dragon Lord DLC. Okay, I mean, a Wyvern's not an animal. But okay. I just don't think they are. For the Tome of Glades, the Glade Runner Tracker's Mark now only applies 2 marks. Whatever. The Tome of Vigor, summon Greater Animal now has a chance to summon a Slither or an Adult Wyvern depending on the locations. Summoned 2. Require the Dragon Lord DLC, except for the Fire and Frost Wyverns? What? Shouldn't this be except for the Obsidian and Golden Wyverns? Oh, no, I think what it's saying is that you need the Dragon Lord DLC for the Obsidian and the Golden Wyverns, but if you don't have a DLC, you can get the Fire and Frost Wyverns. That's just a weird specification. But okay, whatever. For the Aura Tomes, the Legion of Zeal now affects range units. Fantastic. Does that mean they got rid of the other one? The Tome of Faith removed the +5 Imperium income from the Covenant of Phase spell. No, but they added +10 gold. Screw the gold, give me the Imperium! That was my last hope. That was my last hope to get through the Imperium tree. That was it. It's gone. Okay. The Inquisition, Inquisitor's Zeal has been renamed to Inquisitor's Mark. No longer grants Zeal and accuracy. Instead, it grants base 30% chance for attacks to apply Condemned, base 30% for chance to apply Weaken, and base 30% for base attacks to apply Slowed with an upkeep cost increase. Does this still affect skirmishers and archers? Because this is freaking amazing. Like, I'm not going to say every build type amazing, but pretty freaking close. Tome of Sanctuary. Increase mana income of the Sanctuary special province from plus 10 to plus 15. And Sanctuary no longer functions as a Spelljammer. Does that mean there is no Spelljammer in the game that gives resources now? I don't know how I feel about this. I kind of like this. Exaltation. Reduced Imperium income on the statue of the leader from plus 5 to plus 3. They're taking everything from us. The Tome of Shadow, the Reaper. The Reaper's Finger of Death now summons a decaying zombie, not an actual zombie. And the Harvest Population spell from the Tome of the Reaper now is a Sustained City spell. While active, the city's food income is blocked, including from converting draft to food. It loses 20 stability but gains plus 10 souls income. That feels extreme. That feels too extreme. Because, like, it's one thing. I think what they should do, instead of just fully blocking the food income, they should just cut the food income. You know, just a little bit. And keep the minus 20 stability, but no more growing and minus 20 city stability for plus 10 souls? No. No, that's not worth it. At least in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. That does not feel worth it. And of course, unless you had, you know, if you're 30 pop, then whatever, because you can't grow anyway. But, no. I've only ever been 30 pop in megacities. That's it. For the Tome of Evolution, Youthful Regeneration now grants Resurgence to evolve units. Wait, didn't they have that already? With the Sustain spell? The Rapid Evolution enchantment grants Tier 1 and Tier 2 units slip away rather than Resurgence. Oh, answers that question. Draconic Vitality now caps at level 5 when giving a bonus to heroes. Wow. This is the increased HP per level thing. Okay. They cut this tome off at the knees, didn't they? They weren't liking that one. Unit changes. Ranged units. Reduce the optimal range for ranged attacks of Skirmisher, Range, and Battle Mage units. This means they now start getting a long range penalty when 3 hexes away rather than 4 hexes away from the target. Okay. Ranged unit legendary rank no longer grants accuracy. I guess they saw the Archer playthrough and were like, no, we gotta stop that. That's not legal. The King Zombies will no longer apply morale penalties to their allies when they are killed. That's good. When through through various spells. The various spells and abilities that summon zombies. I don't know why that was so hard. All of those that summon a zombie from a corpse now give the zombie 3 AP when it appears. Those that spawn a zombie when a target is killed by an ability are unchanged. Okay. Cavalry and Giant Slayer now appear on the ability tooltips. Dragons now display a high maintenance tag in their stat sheet that explained they cost more upkeep than normal. They always had the upkeep modifier, but it was invisible before. That makes sense, honestly. Plague and Stormscale Serpent's elusive ability has been renamed to Fleeting to not clash with the elusive Racial Mind trait. Wyverns and birds move faster. Maybe wyverns will be useful now. Probably not. For the wildlife, is this wildlife units? Or, like, only in the wild, or does this apply to us as well? Because we can get all these units pretty much. The Dreadspider Matriarch now has 8 bite resistance instead of immunity. The Dire Penguin now correctly has faster movement and swaps. The Bone Wyvern now has a 30% chance to apply poison with its attacks, and now has 40 movement points. The Fire Wyvern now has a 60% chance to apply burning with its attacks, now does 9 physical, 6 fire damage, and now has 40 movement. Don't they have 32 right now? Maybe they're useful. The Young Fire Dragon now has a 60% chance to apply burning, now has 12 physical, 5 fire damage. I think that's a nerf. Now has fire resistance and frost weakness. It should have had that before. Frost Wyvern is now a skirmisher. It has the freezing burst ability. Ooh. Now has a 6% chance to apply slow with its attack and has 40 movements. Wyvern's useful? I feel like the Frost Wyvern is infinitely more useful than the Fire Wyvern. The Young Frost Dragon has a 6% chance to apply slow. Now does 12 physical, 5 frost. Now has frost resistance and fire weakness. The Frost Dragon now applies slow with its attacks. Okay. The Obsidian Wyvern does 9 physical, 6 lightning, 40 movement. The Obsidian Dragon has a 60% chance to apply Electrified. Is it only with its breath it does it now? 12 physical, 5 electricity. Now has lightning resistance and spirit weakness. The Golden River now has a 30% chance to apply Distracted with 40 movement points. The Young Golden Dragon now has a 30% chance to apply Distracted with its attacks. Now does 12 physical, 5 spirit, and has spirit resist and blight weakness. The Golden Dragon now has a 60% chance to apply Distracted with its attack. Does Radiant Missile apply Distracted? Now that I'm reading all this, I think it's Distracted, not Blinded, if that's what I said earlier. And Distract is way better. Because that's a guaranteed crit, I think. Or, excuse me, guaranteed flank. Tide Spirits and Lesser Tide Spirits are now permanently wet. Don't make that joke. And have had their damage resistance adjusted to compensate for being wet. So they are no longer weaker compared to the other spirits. Okay. I think there's actually a mod to directly summon Lesser Tide Spirits, because there isn't in the game. Kraken Spawn now does 12 damage. Is it the baby Kraken? Increase time of the living vine summoned by the Horn God from 1 to 2, so they don't immediately die at the end of the turn. Yeah, that was kind of funny. On the world map, moving through a vassal city domain will now provide the friendly domain movement cast modifier. Thank you. Starvation now destroys the province improvement. Wizard Towers no longer function as a spelljammer. Really? Really? Alright. I mean, to be fair, that's okay, because there was no way to stop it. As far as I know. Like, maybe you could still stand on it, but I don't know. I don't actually remember. The AI's never had a Wizard Tower for me to test it on. Increase the Imperial Essence Imperium from +10 to +15. Sorry, guys, we nerfed all your Imperium income, so here's a bone we're going to throw at you. Great. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy about this change. But it still hurts my soul after everything else we've read about Imperium. Oh, this is why. Just kidding, ignore the bone, because we removed the +5 Imperium income from Lucky Clover. We just rolled it into the Imperial Essence. So, you know, if you can only find a Lucky Clover, too bad, no Imperium for you. Yep, okay. Added +10 food income on the Lucky Clover. Great. That's what it needed. Yep. For the fixes. Okay, we'll go over a few of these. AI issues. Fixed an issue where the AI would wait in certain moment for reinforcements while they have enough units to attack. Yeah. Fixed AI city target values. Fixed AI victory condition target values. AI victory condition target values. So they're more likely to go after them? Fixed issue where the AI would move to the Ancient Wonders under strength. Yeah. Yeah, they would do that. They would just keep throwing people at the Ancient Wonder until they won eventually. Fixed small issue where the AI would target unprotected nodes in a hostile domain. Okay. Isn't that kind of the point? Not sure what they mean there. Diplomacy fiction issue where becoming another ruler's vassal would cause your vassal states to declare war on you. Fixed issue where the show ruler button in diplomacy for declarations would show a non-functional hyperlink on the button itself. Fixed a crash that would happen on assigning a Whisper Stone to a free city if the allegiance per turn would then become 0. There was a bug they fixed like immediately. I guess this was still lingering. Because this happened with the Wyvern update. We actually experienced this during the Smout playthrough. But they did fix that bug. I guess there's one lingering thing. The industry compound no longer also buffs the draft to food conversion ratio. Aw. Added conditions to several rights to prevent these from being activated while you don't own a city. Wild expansion now only triggers on province annexation through building and improvements. Oh, wow. Okay. They're still hammering away at that exploit. Spoils of Destruction and Destined Conquerors now both only trigger on raising conquered cities, not here. Oh. Wait a minute. Can I get plus 20 gold? Can I found a bullshit city? Get the gain plus 20 gold permanently upon raising it. And then just raise it, build it, raise it, build it, raise it, build it. That sounds like a lot of effort. And Imperium. Eh. Events, the Crimson Caldera, don't care. These are campaign missions. These two... Okay, these are important. When viewing a race council event, the character of your race now have the appropriate transformations applied. When you choose a peaceful resolution for any army engaged event, the army now does not play their death animations anymore, but they simply fade away. Fix an issue that the mark of the Auto Destiny trait gave one Chaos Affinity instead of one Nature Affinity. Okay. And there are a lot of interface fixes. A lot of them. Let's see if I recognize any of them. Where the Pantheon bar would overlap in the faction creator. Crash when deleting an empty save slot with controller. Who uses controllers for Age of Wonders 4? Excuse me. Why? Don't do that to yourself. I mean, I think this is on one of the consoles, but still don't do it. Don't do that to yourself. Fix issue where the Pantheon fold-out menu could not be opened with controller. Fix crash when trying to unequip an item with the controller. Fix issue where the toggle hex grid and toggle army banners key bindings would not work after exiting combat. I don't think my toggle hex grid has ever worked. If I just don't know where it is. Fix issue when having a full screen interface open while winning the game at the same time. Graphical issues would occur. Okay, like I said, most of these are just, if you want to read them, you can. Fix issue where sometimes selecting multiple hero skills to level would accidentally pick the wrong skill. This is why you do it one at a time. I still don't trust this. Mouse is unresponsive. I guess I'm going to read over them, skim these. Wizard Kings having their race transformation marked as conflicting. There's the same transformation as is being cast, okay. Fixed a bug where duplicates of already equipped items would not show on the equipment list. Fixed rulers in the Pantheon overview not showing the right amount of affinities. Fixed a crash when button mashing. Who would do that? There is now distinction between domains and infestation in the legend on the overview map. Originally, domains also filtered out the domain area of an infestation. Huh. Fixed artifact hoarders income breakdown correctly. Display what an item tier that income is coming from. I've seen this, but I don't care because I still get the income. Fix an issue where some combat UIs would not properly refresh after a unit gets a buff or debuff when adjacent to another unit effect was applied. Fixed empty entry of magic materials in the casting point breakdown. Fixed the spell list tab header upkeep cost to the current upkeep cost, considering discounts. Removed experience required for the next rank in the unit rank tooltip when unit is max rank. Dismantle Ruins operation now correctly displays why it cannot be activated if the conditions are not met. And Lord of War now correctly mentions his buff world map regeneration instead of healing after combat. Oh, that explains a lot. Fix Reaper upkeep cost in the spell list tooltip and remove the duplicate hero level in the hero level tooltip. There's one single controller issue, and I don't care. There are some localization fixes. Nice. I am only fluent in English, so we'll move on. Spells. Lightning Torrent and Blizzard now correctly say they deal 10 damage. They were displaying 20. Arcane Bond no longer ignores a target status resist. Ooh. This is the chance to mind control a magical origin unit, I think. Consecrate Domain now displays the name of the morale modifier correctly when in battle. Primal Mark now gives the correct version of Primal Strike. Oh yeah, because it got changed, I think. Fixed Burden of Guilt stacking the move point loss, making armies unable to move by the second casting. The AI is casting this on me, but I'm glad they're not manipulating it. Fix an issue that Stand Together did not work for feudal heroes and racial leaders. I don't remember seeing that in the Stranger playthrough, but maybe that's a new bug. Eagle Riders now correctly get their ranks from effects that grant bonus ranks to shield units. I don't think I've used an Eagle Rider either. I think maybe I did in the Stranger playthrough just because we had all that stuff. World map. When embarking, transitions from land to water and vice versa on the strategic map should now animate a lot smoother. Thanks. The outpost watchtower is now removed upon converting the outpost to a city, as you cannot have a watchtower in your city except for the wizard's tower. I never built a watchtower. Improved performance on the start of a new round. Nice. Fix issue where an enemy can take over your siege weapons if they attack within one round of you capturing a city. That's rude. Fixed endlessly looping dust effect after migrating a city. Fix a crash when a riot is started on a building that is being replaced. Improve the animation blending during movement animations and ability transitions. The blending should be a lot smoother, whereas it was very jittery initially. Okay. Reduce the amount of animation sliding when units stop running. Combat units or summons are now correctly free when used in own domain with the Summon Well special province improvements. Good. It took like 5 patches, but this is fixed. Fixed an issue that prevented multi-stack battles on all cave entrances. Now multi-stack battles are only prevented when you attack through the cave entrance. Oh, I see. So if you were standing on a cave entrance and someone was attacking you from the same level, it was a one-on-one. But now it's a multi-stack like it's supposed to. Okay. I tried to get this to happen, but Blint wouldn't attack me. He was a coward. Fixed rare crash in saves if a city was raised after the player lost their throne city. When multiple items are queued for dismantling, they will no longer complete in a single turn. Aw. Not that I dismantle anything. Keep it all, hoard it. I'm a proper dragon, you see. Fixed edge cases where rioting and starvation could disconnect ancient wonders from the city. Okay. And that is all of the changes so far. Like I said, I think this is pretty much everything they want to do. So anything else they're going to change will be reactions to feedback, or something's broken, or something's not working the way they want it to. So I suspect this is the patch. Like I said, the patch is coming out sometime this summer. Officially coming out sometime this summer. The beta exists to test it out, make sure it works, and get initial feedback, probably. But that leaves the question, should the next series be on this patch? There's a lot of things I want to test here, actually. I'm quite excited and quite concerned. There have been a lot of great changes, but Imperium and Research, ugh, they're hurting my soul here. And I feel like these aren't bad changes, like for the game itself overall. I feel like these feel bad because we have tasted the glory that is plus 500 Imperium and having every research costs, or every single research book. I feel like that's why these are so painful, but like I said, there will be a poll in the description down below for you to voice your opinion. Should Iratus return on this beta patch, or should Iratus play on the base game and have his story told? The only difference would be, if we were on the beta, I would try the new Underground. That's it. There's the only difference. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Feel free to let me know what you think of the beta patch notes. You can, of course, find those in the description and the pinned comment if you'd like to read them all for yourself. If you got tired of hearing my beautiful voice, I probably should have said that first instead of after 53 minutes of talking, but it is what it is. Thank you to the patrons and the channel members who support the channel. I greatly appreciate you. And if you would like to stay up to anything happening channel, feel free to join the description down below. Discord in the description down below. Alliteration is important. And I'll see you next time. Bye.